Hi fashion lovers, welcome back to my channel. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to cut different types of necklines. If this seems like something you're interested in, do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and let's get started. So to begin with this tutorial, I've drafted my basic borders. I have about 13 pieces here, so I'm going to be showing you how to draft about 13 types of necklines. One rule that you need to know about drafting is that if you want a deeper depth on your neckline, you need to make sure that your neck width is not too wide. So as that has been said, I'll just go ahead and set aside my pattern pieces. So I'll start by drafting the round neckline, and this is how it looks. So from the center front of my pattern paper, I'll go ahead and use my neck width of 3 inches, and I'll also go down by 3 inches for my neck depth. I'll go ahead and mark the 3 inches on the neck width as well, just to form a square line. So I'll go ahead and square out the line. Once this is done, I'll go ahead and use my curve ruler to form the circle neckline. So this is what we have for the circle neckline. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So this is going to be our round neckline. When I open it up, this is how it looks around the neck. I'll go ahead and label it the round neckline. I'll go ahead and set this aside, and we'll be working on the next, which is the U or scoop neckline. So for the neck width, I'm going to be using 3.5, and for the neck depth, I'm going to go down by 7 inches. You can also use 7.5 or 8. So from this other line, I'm going to also make sure I mark the 7 inches just to form my square. So I'll just mark my neck width of 3.5 here just to get a straight line, and I'll go ahead and use my ruler to form the square. After getting the square line, I'm going to go ahead and use my curve ruler to slant the neckline. So I'm going to place it this way and use it to get the U shape for my neckline. So I'll go ahead and cut this out and show you how it looks. So after cutting, this is how it looks. So we're going to go ahead and label this the U or the scoop neckline. The next neckline will be the square neckline. So for my neck width, I'm going to be making use of 3.5. And then for my neck depth, I'm going to be making use of 7. I'll just go ahead and mark the 3.5 as well. And I'll connect it into a square. After connecting, I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So when you open it up, you're going to have the square shape, and I'll go ahead to label it the square neckline. I hope this tutorial is easy to follow. If so, do not forget to leave your comments below. Next neckline is going to be the boat neckline, and this is how it looks. So for the boat neckline, you need to know that neck width is wider while the neck depth is shorter. So for this, I'm going to be making use of 5 inch on my shoulder. And for the depth, I'm going to be making use of about 3 inches. You can also make use of 2.5. Then I'll just go ahead and use my curve ruler to slant it in. So I'll go ahead and use my scissors to cut this out. And when you open it up, this is how it's going to look. So now we're going to go ahead and label this the boat neckline. The next neckline would be the V shape, and this is how it looks. So I'm going to mark 3 inches as my neck width, and for the depth, I'm going to be making use of 6 inches. So after getting this, I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to slant it down to the neck depth. I'll go ahead and use my scissors to cut it out, And when you open it up, it's going to have the V shape. So I'll label this the V shape. So the next neckline is familiar to the V shape, but it's called a plunging neckline, and that is how it looks. So for my neck depth, I'm going to be making use of 3 inches, and I'm going to make the depth around 9 inches. You can go as deep as you want. It can stop on your waist, which is around 15 or 16. So I'm just going to make use of 9, and I'm going to cut this out. So this is how the plunging neckline looks, and I'll label this the plunging neckline. The next neckline will be a sweetheart neckline, and for my neck width, I'll be making use of 3 inches. Then the neck depth will be about 8 inches. I'll go ahead and rule out an horizontal line here just to give me the guideline of my sweetheart neckline. Next, I'm going to go up by 3 inches as well on the 8 inches that we marked. And I'll also take note of my neck width here, which is about 3 inches. Then I'll rule out a line. So from this 3 inches line, I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect to the 8 inches that we marked as first. This is to form the sweetheart neckline. So now I'll go ahead and cut it out. And when you open it up, this is how it looks. I'll just label this the sweetheart neckline. Then the next neckline will be the Queen Anne neckline, which is a bit similar to the sweetheart neckline. So to get this, the neck width that you're going to be using is going to be a bit smaller than the neck width that you used for the sweetheart neckline. So for instance, I used 3 inches at first. Now I'm going to be using 2.5 for my neck width. And now I'm going to go down and mark about 8 inches for my neck depth. Then I'm going to go ahead and rule out an horizontal line going to my armhole point, and I'll just stop right here. Now I'm going to go up by 3 inches, and from my armhole I'm going to come in by about 2.5 inches. You can also do 2 inches depending on how wide you want that part to be. I'll connect from my neck width slantedly to the 2.5 inches that we marked, and I'll go ahead to use my curved ruler to form the sweetheart shape on this edge. I'll then go ahead to cut out. When you open up, this is how it's going to look. It's going to have a deeper shape in front, and this is going to be the Queen Anne neckline. I'll go ahead and draft the next neckline, which is going to be the off shoulder. This is also called the one shoulder or the asymmetric shoulder. So you need to open up your pattern paper, and you need to go ahead from the center of your paper. You'll go ahead and mark your neck width, which is mine is about 3 inches. So after marking this, I'm going to go to the armhole line, and I'm going to go down by about 5 inches. You can go down by 4 or you can go down by 6. So I'm just going to be using 5 inches for mine. Then from the center of my pattern paper, I'm going to go down by 3.5 inches. So I'll just mark the point right here. Now I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect those 3 points. So this is how it looks. I'll go ahead and cut this out. And I'll go ahead and label this the one shoulder or the asymmetric neckline. The next neckline is also called an asymmetric. I'll go ahead and open up my pattern paper. Now from one side of my shoulder, I'm going to go in by 3 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 3 inches from this shoulder right here. And on the other shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and go in by 2 inches. Now from this 2 inches point, I'm going to go down by how deep I want it to be. I want it to be about 6.5. Now I'll go ahead and rule out a vertical line. Now I'll also go ahead and rule out a line to join the neck depth that I'm using. So you can also use your curved ruler to form a shape. If you want a shape on this neckline, you can just go ahead and use your curved ruler to do that. But I'm just going to leave mine straight. I'll go ahead and cut it out. And this is how the asymmetric neckline looks. I'll just label it this, the asymmetric neckline. The next neckline will be the keyhole. So what I'll do is, from the center of my pattern paper, I'll go down by how deep I want my opening to be. So mine is about 7 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and rule out the straight line to join to my armhole. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark my neck width of 3 inches and my neck depth of 3 inches. This is the accurate neck depth that I use for all my measurements. So I'll just go ahead and curve it in to form my neckline. Now for the opening that I want for the keyhole, I'm going to go up by 1.5. Then I'm going to go out by how wide I want the opening to be. So I just went ahead to mark about 3.5 here. I'll use my curved ruler to just form the keyhole shape that I want here. So now for the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and draw out about 1 inches there just to connect to form a sweetheart neckline. You can leave this part straight, but I just want mine to be like a sweetheart neckline. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Just watch where I'm cutting. So I'm cutting out the neckline, and I'm also cutting out the shape that I marked for the keyhole. Now I'm just going to trim out the sweetheart neckline. So when you open it up, you're going to have 2 pieces. This is what I have. So I'm going to label this the keyhole neckline. And the top part, I'm going to label it the yoke. Now we're going to move on to the next neckline, which is the wrap. And this is how it looks. I opened up my pattern paper. For the neck width, I used 3 inches. And from the center, I'll go down by 7 inches. You can go down by 6.5. You can go down by 8 inches. It totally depends on yours, how revealing you want it to be in the center. So now I'm just going to go up by 2 inches at the end of my pattern. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my slanted ruler to connect this point. You can use your straight ruler, but I prefer using my curved ruler. So what you need to take note that when you're cutting this to make a top or a dress, you need to cut out 2 of this to form your wrap. So because we have the left and the right part, so this is just 1 piece of this, so you need 2 to make your full top. So I'm just going to label this the wrap neckline. Next neckline I'm going to be working with is the halter neckline, and this is how it looks. For my neck width, I'm just going to make use of my normal one, which is 3 by 3, and I just rule out my neckline. Now I'm going to go down by 1.5 from my neckline. After marking this 1.5, I'm just going to use my ruler to slant it down into the armhole. So for this neckline, you need to also make use of a dart just to avoid gaping on the chest. And for that, I already ruled out my dart legs here. So if you were to impute the dart, what you need to do is connect the line straight from the armhole into your dart legs. And then you're going to mark 0.5 on each side to avoid the gaping. I'll just go ahead to cut out the neckline, and I'll also cut it out into the armhole. So just make sure that you do impute your dart to avoid the gaping. So I'll just go ahead and label this the halter neck. And this is all that we have for today's tutorial. I hope this tutorial was helpful. If so, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and also do share with your family and friends. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Fake Mars.